You would be hard-pressed to convince me that Caitlin Clark refusing to join the Unrivaled Basketball League doesn't have something to do with this.
The basketball world has just experienced one of its most unexpected developments of 2024. Kelsey Plum, the WNBA superstar, made an announcement that has sent shockwaves through the women's basketball community. This follows Caitlin Clark's decision to decline the Unrivaled League, and now Plum has also stepped away. Inside sources suggest this could spark a mass exodus, leaving team owners scrambling and the league's future uncertain.
All right, now I'm sure Kelsey Plum will never admit that. Nobody will ever know it.
The Unrivaled League, a new 3x3 basketball venture designed to revolutionize the sport, is now facing its greatest challenge yet. Caitlin Clark, the electrifying college basketball star, had already declined to join, raising concerns. However, nobody anticipated the domino effect that would follow. Just days ago, Kelsey Plum, a three-time All-Star averaging 17.8 points and 4.2 assists per game, announced her decision to step away from the league. Her Instagram post cited a need for personal time, but insiders suggest deeper concerns regarding the league's viability and financial projections. This league, which aimed to compete in a crowded sports market, relied heavily on the drawing power of marquee players like Clark and Plum. Clark's earlier decision already raised red flags, and now with Plum's departure, the league has lost two of its most marketable stars. Industry experts warn this could be a significant blow, given the league's already modest projections of 1, 500, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 viewers per game. Numbers now likely to drop further.
Now, if she'd have played, do I believe that her game?
The ripple effects are being felt throughout the basketball world. A'ja Wilson, another superstar, is also not participating, further dimming the league's star power. Social media is ablaze with speculation about who might withdraw next, with some commentators calling this the beginning of a broader collapse. Analysts are comparing this scenario to launching a major sports league without key players, a near impossible challenge. The league's structure and business model face additional scrutiny. Its 3-and-3 format was designed to offer faster-pacing, action-packed games. However, without major stars to headline the competition, this innovative approach risks failing to attract sufficient fan engagement or sponsor support. Venues planned to host games were small, seating only 850 fans, banking instead on digital viewership. Without the star appeal of players like Plum and Clark, these digital projections now seem overly optimistic. Sponsors, too, are reconsidering their commitments. Reports suggest several potential backers are adopting a cautious wait-and-see approach, with some questioning the league's long-term sustainability. Agents have reportedly been raising tough questions about the league's viability since Clark's decision, further complicating efforts to secure player commitments.
They're going to draw what WNBA games are drawing, and one could argue that's not great in a lot of cases if Caitlin Clark's not involved.
The league has maintained a muted response, issuing a general statement thanking Plum for her time, while avoiding any mention of the broader implications. This silence has only intensified speculation about its future. Critics argue that the league lacks the nostalgic appeal of successful ventures like the men's Big Three League, which thrives on the presence of retired NBA stars. Without comparable star power, the Unrivaled League's competitive edge appears tenuous at best. For the Laces team, Plum's departure leaves a significant void. Originally built around a stellar lineup, the team now faces the challenge of replacing its central figure. The league's innovative approach to player contracts, offering ownership stakes alongside playing agreements, may also need a complete overhaul in light of recent events. With players reevaluating their positions and the league struggling to maintain its momentum, the Unrivaled League is at a crossroads. Its ability to recover from this crisis will depend on whether it can address the growing concerns from players, fans, and sponsors alike, Without swift and decisive action, the ambitious venture may face an uphill battle to survive. The failure of a high-profile league like this could have repercussions beyond just the immediate players and teams. It raises broader questions about the future of innovation in women's sports. If the Unrivaled League collapses, it could discourage investors and stakeholders from supporting similar ventures in the future, casting a shadow over the progress of women's basketball. League executives are reportedly working frantically to prevent further departures, but each passing day seems to bring new challenges, raising doubts about whether there is even anything left to save. One of the most unique aspects of this league was its player contracts, which offered ownership stakes rather than just salaries. However, these stakes were tied to the league's success, heavily dependent on viewership and revenue projections. With Caitlin Clark and now Kelsey Plum stepping away, those projections have plummeted. Industry insiders suggest that projected opening weekend viewership, once estimated at 800,000, might now struggle to reach 1,000,000. This decline directly affects the value of the ownership stakes, creating financial instability for players and the league alike. Sponsorships are also in jeopardy. Major brands that had initially shown interest are now pulling back. Negotiations with prominent sponsors have reportedly been frozen, and venue contracts contingent on attendance benchmarks are now at risk of being voided. Without star power, meeting these benchmarks seems increasingly unlikely. The prospect of a player exodus looms large, with reports indicating that at least 5 prominent players are reconsidering their positions. These include all-stars and Olympians, whose departures could severely undermine the league's credibility. The timing of these setbacks couldn't be worse, as women's basketball had been gaining unprecedented attention, largely due to Caitlin Clark's remarkable college performances. What was meant to capitalize on this momentum is now turning into a cautionary tale. Insurance costs for the league are rising sharply as insurers view it as a high-risk venture. Broadcasting deals are similarly uncertain, with streaming platforms reportedly freezing negotiations that once seemed promising. Plans for international expansion, once a key aspect of the league's vision, now appear dead in the water. Financially, the league's high-risk, star-driven model is becoming untenable. Negative social media sentiment has surged, with comments likening the league to a doomed experiment. This skepticism extends to potential investors, who are increasingly wary of committing to women's sports ventures. The situation is also taking a toll on coaches and support staff, many of whom left secure positions for the promise of a groundbreaking league. Some are now exploring exit strategies, further destabilizing the organization. Technology partnerships aimed at enhancing the fan experience with AR and VR elements are being reconsidered. Local economies in host cities, which had anticipated economic benefits from game days, are also adjusting their expectations downward. Merchandise production has resulted in stockpiles of unsellable items, leading to millions in potential losses before a single game has been played. Grassroots player development programs, once touted as a key benefit of the league, are likely to be scaled back or abandoned. The lack of clear communication from league leadership is exacerbating the crisis. Players, staff, and stakeholders are left in the dark, fueling speculation and uncertainty. Industry experts stress the need for decisive action and significant announcements to salvage what remains. But the diminishing star power leaves little room for optimism. Ultimately, this isn't just about one league's failure, it's a reflection of the critical role that star power and timing play in launching a sports venture. For women's basketball, the stakes are higher than ever, and the repercussions of this league's struggles could be felt for years to come. Without drastic intervention, this might mark one of the swiftest collapses in sports history, a sobering reminder of how fragile even the most ambitious plans can be when foundational pieces begin to fall apart.